Hi, my name is Lizzie, and I'm bringing you this power yoga flow from Costa Rica. We have 30 minutes of work and a 5-minute Savasana. We're going to focus more on the thoracic spine and opening through the shoulders. I'm here to facilitate the movement for you, so if there's any time you need to take a break, to pause, maybe to skip on a pose, or to find a little bit more movement within a pose or progress that pose even further, please feel free to do so. I'm just here as your facilitator to facilitate movement and breath for you. So I hope you enjoy this flow. Namaste. Starting in child's pose, take the knees wide as mat's distance, big toes touching. Walking the hands forward, take the forehead to the mat. And finding your breath here, so taking some inhales and exhales through the nose. Filling the belly, filling the lungs. Raising the head up and walking the hands over to the right, stretching out the left side body. Lifting the head up, walking the hands over to the left, stretching the right side body. Right sits bones back down to the heel. And coming back to center, taking a full inhale and exhale. And coming up to tabletop, cat-cows, tucking the toes under, dropping the belly, gazing up. Untucking the toes, pressing through the palms, rounding the back, looking to the belly button. Inhale, gaze, look up, arch the back. Exhale, round. Inhale, gaze, look up, dropping the belly. And exhale, round. Coming to a neutral spine. And we're going to come into puppy pose. So taking the hands forward, keeping the hips lifted, dropping the forehead down to the mat. If you want to, you can take the chin to the mat. Squeezing the lats down the back towards the midline. Continuing to breathe. And we're going to come into Sphinx pose. Keeping the forearms on the mat, lifting through the chest, shoulders away from the ears. And progressing this back to child's pose. Neutral spine in a tabletop. Spinal twist, taking the right arm up towards the sky, gaze to the thumb, and threading the needle under. So right arm drops, taking the left hand behind the lower back, maybe grabbing the inner thigh. Slowly unraveling, taking the left hand underneath the shoulder, pressing through the palm, untwist, unwind, lift the right hand back up to the sky. Dropping it down. Inhale, lift the left arm up towards the sky. As you exhale, thread the needle, left arm drops. Right hand can come around the lower back, grabbing the left inner thigh. Breathing deep. Starting to untwist, placing the palm back underneath the shoulder. Inhale, arm rises, gaze to the sky. Exhale, drop the left hand down to the mat. Inhale, drop the belly, gaze up. Exhale, cat, looking towards the belly button, rounding the back. Coming to a neutral spine, tucking the toes under, and coming to your first down dog. Lifting the hips up, fingers spread wide, index fingers pointing forward. And walking the heels out as you need to. If you need to come up on the toes, taking the heels side to side, bending through the knees, finding movement in your body. Walking the hands back towards the feet and hang in ragdoll, slight bend in the knees, grabbing opposite elbows, gently sway from side to side. Rolling up one vertebrae at a time. And rolling the shoulders up, down, and back. Inhale, arms rise overhead. And exhale as you cactus, the arms open, gazing up towards the sky. Inhale, take the arms back overhead. Exhale, slowly fold forward. And coming back to the ragdoll, grabbing opposite elbows. Decompressing through the spine. Maybe shake your head yes, maybe shake it no. And starting to walk the hands forward, coming into plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale to upward facing dog. And exhale to downward facing dog. Finding the breath. Engaging the core, lifting the sits bones towards the ceiling. Gazing forward, walking the feet towards the hands. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, swan dive up, palms come together, gaze up. Exhale, hands to the side. Inhale, arms rise overhead. And we're going to have the right hand grab the left wrist, folding over to the right side, stretching the left side body. Inhale, back to center, and left hand grabs the right wrist, leaning towards the left side, stretching out the side body, gazing upwards. Inhale, back to center, gaze up and folding forward. Inhale to a flat back. Exhale, step, hop, float, back to plank, through to chaturanga. Inhale to upward facing dog, and exhale to downward facing dog. Finding the breath. If there's any gentle movement here. Gazing forward, step, hop, or float, feet together. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, swan dive up, palms come together. Exhale, Tadasana, mountain pose. Inhale, arms rise, gaze up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, step back to plank, through to chaturanga. Inhale to upward facing dog, and exhale to downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg rises to the sky. Exhale, pull the knee to the chest, stepping it through, high lunge. Inhale, arms rise overhead. Gazing up if you can, lifting the lower ribs away from the hip bones. Exhale, plant the hands, step back to plank, through to chaturanga. Inhale to upward facing dog. Exhale to downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg rises to the sky. Exhale, pull the knee into the chest, stepping it through, high lunge, grounding through the feet, squeezing the inner thighs. Gazing up, lifting the lower ribs away from the hips. And exhale, plant the hands, step back to plank, through to chaturanga. Inhale to upward facing dog. Exhale to downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg rises to the sky. Exhale, pull the knee into the chest, stepping it through, high lunge. Inhale, arms rise, squeezing the inner thighs. Exhale, clasp the hands behind the lower back. Inhale, lift through the chest. Exhale, humble warrior. Squeezing the inner thighs, taking the arms up and overhead. Inhale, coming back to high lunge. And exhale, revolve side lunge. Left hand plants down to the floor, right hand raises to the sky, gazing to the right hand. Coming into side plank, you can drop the left leg down to the mat if needed, lifting the hips high towards the ceiling. And coming back to plank, exhale through chaturanga. Inhale to upward facing dog. Exhale to downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg rises to the sky. Exhale, pull the knee into the chest, stepping it through. High lunge, squeezing the inner thighs. Inhale, arms rise. And exhale, clasp the hands behind the lower back. Inhale, lifting through the chest. And exhale, humble warrior. Lifting the arms up and overhead, dropping the chest to the inside of the left knee. Inhale, rise back up. And exhale, revolve side lunge, taking the right hand down, lifting the left arm towards the sky, gazing to the thumb, and stepping it back for side plank. You can stack the feet or stagger the feet, maybe drop the lower leg, lifting the hips towards the sky. And back to plank. Exhale through chaturanga, elbows next to rib cage. Inhale to upward facing dog, and exhale to downward facing dog. And coming to plank, lowering all the way to the belly. And we're going to come into Sphinx pose. So taking the forearms, palms down to the mat, elbows directly underneath the shoulders, lifting through the crown of the head, shoulders rolling up, down, and back. And taking the hands as wide as the mat, extending the arms straight, lifting through the chest. Taking deep breaths here, walking the palms back towards the hips, into Cobra. Staying here, or if you want to deepen this pose, you can bend the knees and taking the feet towards the head, looking up towards the sky. Pulling the lower ribs away from the hip bones. And slowly rolling down, taking the hands to a triangle, forehead to triangle, bending the knees, windshield wiper the feet back and forth. And releasing the feet down to the mat, coming into locust pose, taking the hands down to the mat, lifting through the chest, lifting the legs. Deep breaths here. And exhale, coming down, pressing back to child's pose, releasing the lower back. And coming back down to the belly, coming into locust pose with the hands clasped behind the lower back, lifting through the chest, lifting the legs. And slowly rolling down, placing the hands underneath the shoulders, pressing it back to child's pose, releasing the lower back. Rolling back down to the belly. And coming into bow pose, bending the knees, grabbing the outsides of the feet. As you inhale, kick the feet into the hands, lifting the chest, lifting the legs off the ground. Deep breaths. And slowly releasing back down to the mat, hands underneath the shoulders, pressing it back to child's pose. Coming back to the belly. Taking the hands out to a T, shoulder height, gaze over the left shoulder. Fully relax down to the mat. Full inhales and exhales through the nose, filling the belly, filling the lungs. And taking the left palm underneath the shoulder, lifting the left side body off the ground. Here you can take the left leg on top behind the right leg, bending the knee, placing the foot on the floor. If you need to, or if you want to, you can progress this pose by taking the left hand to the lower back. And maybe you're able to reach for the hand clasp. So you're feeling the stretch in the right pectoral muscle as that right arm stays straight, opening through the chest, opening through the shoulders, and taking the left hand back down and slowly untwisting. The left arm comes back out to shoulder height. Gaze over the right shoulder, completely relaxed down to the mat. Deep breaths. Broken wing, taking the right hand underneath the right shoulder, press through the palm, lift the right side body up to the sky. Bending the right knee, placing the foot on the floor behind the left. Feeling the stretch within the left chest. And you can progress this pose even further by taking the right hand to the lower back. Maybe the right hand grabs the left hand for the hand clasp. And starting to untwist, unwind, taking the right arm back out to shoulder height, gazing over the left shoulder. Take a big inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth. Placing the hands underneath the shoulders, coming back to child's pose. Hips to the heels, walking the fingertips long. And coming back to plank, exhale through chaturanga, inhale to upward facing dog, exhale to downward facing dog. Inhale, lift the right leg towards the sky, exhale, pull the knee into the chest, stepping it through to half pigeon, right heel to left hip, lifting through the chest. You can stay here, or you can start to bend the left knee. The left hand is going to grab the left foot, or you can take the left foot into the hook of the elbow. Gazing forward into mermaid, you can take the right hand, reaching for the left hand. And slowly releasing, squaring the chest over the leg, exhale, fold forward. Taking deep breaths. Fully relaxing with the exhale. Starting to walk the hands up, lifting through the chest. Tucking the back toe under, extend the back leg straight. Palms on the ground. Lifting through the hips. Inhale, take the right leg up towards the sky. Bending the knee, gaze underneath the right shoulder. And flipping the dog, slowly taking the right foot behind the left. And reaching the arm long towards the front of the room. Slowly coming back to the three-legged down dog. Right leg rises to the sky. And as you exhale, cross the right leg to the left shoulder, stepping it through for falling star. Gazing up towards the sky. Left arm reaches long, lifting the hips, and coming back to plank. Exhale through chaturanga, inhale to upward facing dog, and exhale to downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg rises to the sky. Exhale, pull the knee into the chest, stepping it through to half pigeon. Lifting through the chest, taking some deep breaths here, finding where the body's holding tension, Inhaling through that tension, exhale, release. You can come into mermaid by bending the right knee and either grabbing the right foot with the right hand or hooking the right foot with the elbow crease. Left arm can reach up and over, gazing towards the front. Slowly releasing, squaring the chest to the center, and exhale, fold forward. Scanning the body, noticing if you're holding tension anywhere. If you're holding tension in your shoulders, start to release the tension with the exhale. Slowly walking the hands back up, tucking the back toe under, extend the back leg straight, palms down on the mat. Slowly start to lift the hips up, coming to a three-legged down dog, left leg rises. Bending the knee, gaze underneath the left shoulder. And slowly flipping the dog, taking the left leg behind the right and extending long, lifting the lower ribs away from the hips. Slowly coming back to the three-legged down dog, left leg reaches towards the sky. And as you exhale, cross the left knee across the body to the right shoulder and extending it through falling star. Right arm reaches towards the ceiling, gazing upwards. And planting the hands, step back to plank through to chaturanga. Inhale to upward facing dog and exhale to downward facing dog. Gazing forward and coming to a seated position. Legs extending long, inclined plank pose, taking the fingertips behind the seat about 6 inches, lifting through the body, lifting the chest, taking the head back, squeezing the glutes, strong arms, and slowly rolling back down to the mat, extending the arms forward, seated forward fold, and breathing into the backs of the legs, keeping the core engaged here. Maybe you're grabbing the sides of your feet, maybe the big toes with your peace fingers. And coming up to seated. Coming into Savasana A, taking the right foot, the right heel towards the midline, squaring the chest and folding over the left leg. Externally rotating that right knee while you take the forehead to the knee, folding forward. Inhale, look up, coming back to seated and changing legs. Taking the left heel towards the midline, the left knee out to the side. Inhale, extend over the leg. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, gaze up, and coming back to seated, and transitioning back to plank. Exhale through chaturanga, inhale to upward facing dog, and exhale to downward facing dog. Coming into dolphin, dropping the forearms down, palms flat on the mat or in prayer, and shifting the chest back to the legs, opening through the shoulders. And And coming into headstand, if it's in your practice, interlace the fingers, and you can extend the pinky fingers long, grabbing the back of the head with the hands, walking the feet forward. First step is to lift the hips so the hips are directly over the shoulders. Make sure that the elbows are not too wide, that they're directly underneath the shoulders as well. If you're here, you can start to lift one foot, tucking the knees into the chest. If that is stable, you can extend the legs long. Always pressing with the forearms, trying to take any weight away from the head. And slowly coming back down to the mat, coming back to a child's pose, knees wide, extending the fingertips long, lengthening through the spine. Coming back to plank and downward dog. Gazing forward, coming to a seated position at the front of your mat. Extend the legs long, palms together, and slowly roll down one vertebrae at a time. As you come to the back, pull both knees into the chest, wrapping the arms around the shins, giving yourself a nice hug. Gently rock from side to side. Taking it to plow pose, palms to the ground, take the hips up and over, feet extend long over the head, clasping the hands behind the lower back. Keeping the core engaged. Ear pressure pose, taking the knees, squeezing towards the ears, big toes touching. Extending the legs back long and slowly roll down one vertebrae at a time, pulling the knees into the chest. Gently rock from side to side. Supine spinal twist, option for eagle legs. Right leg would cross over left, dropping the knees over to the left. And gaze over the right shoulder. Extending the spine long as it's twisting. Starting to untwist, pulling the knees back into the chest, gently rock from side to side. And crossing the left leg over the right if you want to do eagle legs. Taking both knees to the right, gazing over the left shoulder. Extending the spine long, think of reaching through the crown of the head as the sacrum reaches long. Slowly coming back, pulling the knees into the chest, gently rock from side to side. And coming into happy baby, grabbing the outsides of the feet, pulling the knees towards the rib cage. You can extend the legs long, just finding movement in your happy baby. Maybe one leg stretches long, the other pulls in. Maybe taking the soles of the feet together. Just finding some movement within the hips. And when you're ready, Supta Baddha Konasana, soles of the feet together, knees wide, one hand to belly, one hand to heart. Fully relaxing down to the mat. Feeling the heartbeat. Feeling the breath as the chest rises and falls. And whenever you're ready, coming into your final Savasana, extending the legs long, wider than mat's distance, palms facing the ceiling. Pressing through the back of the head, rolling the shoulders up, down, and back. Fully relaxing down to the mat, scanning the body. And starting to wiggle the fingers and the toes. Rolling out the wrists and the ankles, taking the legs together, reaching the arms up and overhead. Full body stretch. Pulling the knees into the chest, giving yourself a nice big hug, gently rock from side to side. When you're ready, falling to the right into fetal position, resting your head on the right arm. And starting to come up into a comfortable seated position. Thank you all for letting me guide you through your practice today. Namaste. If you like this flow, please like, comment, or subscribe.